Good morning. My name is Elaine Crane, and we are here to evaluate the online resources that are available to Maryland patients. For a practicing nurse practitioner, a population of interest is the one interacted with 40 hours a week, patients. And according to a July 2003 report from the Pew Internet and American Life Project, 80% of Internet use is to search for health information. As well as investigating what online resources this population is using, a closer look at their education level is imperative. The number one question in an office in Severna Park, Maryland, for the past 2 years has been, do I have Lyme's disease? The online resources for patient information on this topic were examined. There have been many news articles in print, on television, and online that have stated that Lyme's disease in the Northeast has increased dramatically in the past decade. As the symptoms of Lyme's disease are vague, almost every one of these patients could potentially have the disease. Although, according to the U.S. Census, the majority of Maryland patients are well educated, Brine states that when making decisions and looking for information about their health, patients tend to use emotion rather than logic. The top Google hits with the question, do I have Lyme's disease, entered into the search line were reviewed, their information critiqued, their resources and writers investigated. The Guide to Writing and Designing Easy-to-Use Health Websites by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, the websites Edit Central, and readability formulas were used to find if the information contained is understandable by the typical Maryland patient. Improvements were proposed to better patient understanding of their health concern. The process of identifying publications regarding Maryland residents' education and health literacy began with an online literature search using the Cumulative Index of Nursing and Allied Health Literature, Medical Literature Analysis and Retrieval System online, through the FNU Library. Search inclusion criteria required that the publication be written in English and published within 5 years. The most applicable and beneficial search was obtained by using the combination of the keywords education, high school diploma, health literacy, and patient internet use. For Lyme's disease, relevant search terms were Lyme's disease and internet, and for analyzing websites, analyzing health information, reading levels, and designing a good website. This search strategy revealed 90 publications. A careful review of the abstract of each publication revealed 33 publications that were relevant to this project and were chosen for inclusion in this review of the literature. 45.4% of working-age adults in Maryland have a 2- or 4-year degree. In the United States, the rate is 38.7%. Of these, 16.7% have a master's degree or better. However, 43% of adults in Maryland have only a high school diploma, and 20% read at the lowest literacy level. 12.1% of Maryland's population does not graduate from high school. According to the National Committee for Quality Assurance, even though a significant portion of Maryland residents has an education beyond high school, their health literacy is a different story. The American Medical Association states, health literacy is a constellation of skills, including the ability to perform basic reading and numerical tasks required to function in the healthcare environment. Most adults read at an 8th grade level, and 20% of the population reads at or below a 5th grade level. According to Parker in 2000 and Schaefer and Keenan in 2005, most healthcare materials are written at a 10th grade level. The literacy of individual members of Maryland's population may be different, but the online resources they use are the same. The top Google hits are the CDC, WebMD, and Wikipedia. Several articles from magazines and newspapers followed, and those will also be looked at later in this presentation. The CDC has a section entitled Deciding Whether a Source is Reliable, and they follow their own advice. Where was the research published? How does the new information fit into what is already known? And how does funding influence research? No authors are listed for the article, but it is clear that the information is up to date and that the sources are the CDC, the National Center for Emerging and Zoonotic Infectious Diseases, and the Division of Vector-Borne Diseases. WebMD states that it provides valuable health information, tools for managing your health, and support to those who seek information. You can trust that our content is timely and credible. A section, Meet the WebMD Health Senior Staff and Editorial Team, was accessed and the principal staff members examined using online searches. All 4 physicians have active licenses in their respective states. The information is readily available through the physician boards. Dr. Smith is listed as a provider on the Good Samaritan Health Center website, but the other physicians were not found. This information and any online reports or patient satisfaction are not really a way to check the knowledge base of online health editors or authors, but it is a start. A revoked or inactive license would have an effect on the information reviewed, but the absence of readily available issues do not. WebMD does have a disclaimer statement. Please do not read this entire thing. Only the last line is important. Wikipedia clearly states that it is a community-based reference, and there is a possibility for error in Wikipedia's content. Please check your facts against multiple sources and read our disclaimers for more information. The accompanying notes section about Lyme's disease seems impressive, but unless all 229 articles are read, evaluated, and matched with the information in the article, there is no way to guarantee accuracy. Also, Wikipedia pages are not static, and information can change rapidly. But can Maryland patients understand what they are reading? Using the website's readability formulas and Edit Central, the information posted on all were examined. 3 measures of reliability were used. The Flesch Reading Ease Score assesses the difficulty of reading a passage written in English. A score of 100 represents the easiest to read text, and a score of 0 represents the most difficult to read text. Scores from 60 to 70 are plain English, readable by the average literate reader. A score of about 65 correlates with the 8th to 9th grade level, and a score of about 55 indicates a 10th to 12th grade level. Scores between 0 and 30 represent college graduate readability. The Automated Readability Index, or ARI, is a formula that outputs a number that approximates the grade level needed to comprehend the text. For example, if the ARI outputs the number 10, this equates to a high school student ages 15 through 16 years old. A number 3 means the students in the 3rd grade, ages 8 to 9 years old, should be able to comprehend the text. And the Simplified Measure of Gobbledygook, or SMOG, index determines the U.S. grade level that should be able to read that text. These measures were run on the front page information on the CDC website. Both sites rated the information at about the same level. It was way above the 10th grade level and not even close to the 8th or 5th grade reading levels needed by Maryland patients. The WebMD information was about the same. Still difficult to read, still at a college level entry, and still at a 12th grade level. The Wikipedia information was somewhat easier to comprehend, but still above what should be written for the general population. Still fairly difficult to read, but for 7th and 8th graders, and the smog, a ninth grader, better. So when Maryland patients don't understand what they are reading, where do they go? I looked at an article, The Confounding Debate Over Lyme Disease in the South, from the Discover magazine. The scores were somewhat lower, but still fairly difficult to read, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. As did the Lyme Wars from the New Yorker. Again, standard average readability, grades 8th and 9th, by SMOG and ARI. Terrifyingly, the easiest to read article was the most disturbing. All She Lost, My Sister's Battle with Lyme's Disease, from NBCnews.com. It was fairly easy to read at a 5th, 6th, and 7th grade level, and therefore easily understood by a majority of Maryland patients. Unfortunately, what it had in sensationalism, it lacked in information. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion, has written a research-based how-to guide for creating websites and web content for the millions of Americans with limited literacy skills and limited experience using the web. This is the guide that has been followed throughout this paper. They outline 6 strategies in producing easy-to-use health websites. Several articles are available for the new and experienced web designer. Keeping the message simple and the page uncluttered is a way to adapt to the needs of lower literacy users without being condescending. Put information in boxes or colors different from the main text. Choose a font that is easy to read. Arial in 12-point, Verdana in 10-point, Georgia, and for older readers, make it at least a 14-point font. Putting a photo at the top of the page with a heading below helps the viewer to know where to look first. According to Michael Bluejay, in order to make factual website information, what is needed is a good editor who keeps in mind the health literacy of the consumer and a page designer more interested in getting the point across than impressing the site visitor. The CDC website follows the recommendations of the HHS: appropriate picture and placement, a heading, although it's above the picture, organized information, easy to choose what is most important to the patient. Take another look at the CDC information and its complexity. Now don't read this whole thing, but look in the right-hand column. Again, difficult to read at a 10th or 12th grade level. Not what the National Center for Education Statistics recommends. Remember, 20% of the population reads at or below a 5th grade level. Can we use the principles discussed in this lecture to assist the CDC in reaching their audience? After 10 minutes of editing, I have produced a rewritten Lyme's statement for the CDC website. Again, don't read the left-hand column, but let's look again at the right-hand column. A standard average reading ease score and down to an 8th or 9th grade level. Not quite what we were shooting for, but with a few more minutes I can probably get us closer to the goal. It would be easy to apply a little editing to all the sites we have visited today if the CDC, WebMD, and even Wikipedia were a little bit closer to the national average of reading levels. Perhaps our patients would not turn to the sensationalism usually spouted by the news media. Here we have several websites that all answer the question. Most have language that is too complicated for the typical Maryland patient, and those